I'm Jilly G. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make my version of an Oriental chicken salad. And I say my version because there are so many restaurants out there that have a version of this recipe. Mine will of course be gluten-free as well. So I know it looks like I have a lot going on, but I do. But it really comes together so fast. So before we get started on our recipe today, I do want to mention that I've recently done a podcast with another YouTuber here. Her channel name is the Allergy Dragon. We had so much fun together and we hit it off, and she's so much fun to talk to. But not only that, and if you're not aware, May is Celiac Disease Awareness Month. And I have celiac disease, and so does the Allergy Dragon. And so we talked a lot about that, and of course many other things. We just talked and talked, and it was so much fun to visit with her. I will put a link to her channel in my description box, so check out her channel and watch my podcast, but then check out all of the other podcasts. There's so many amazing people that are doing amazing things for the food allergy community, whether you have a disease like I do or just food allergies. So now for the recipe. The first thing we're going to do is get our salad dressing together. I have a jar here that I'm going to put it all in. After measuring everything out, I think I'll have better luck pouring it into here first. So in this container, I've got a half cup of rice vinegar. This is a 1/4 cup of olive oil. I think I would have a hard time pouring this into the jar, and I didn't want to get a funnel. So this is okay. And then a 1/4 cup of sesame oil. And I don't know about where you live, but it's starting to be spring and almost into summer here. I've got 1 tablespoon of honey. And as always, I'll give you the equivalents to sugar in the description box below. But I'll tell you, even if I was using sugar, I would use honey in this dressing recipe. It just goes so well with all the other flavors. I should tell you what that is. 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard, and then a 1/2 teaspoon of salt and pepper. There, so now that I've got all of those in there, it will be easier to pour into my jar. Do you ever do things like this and you think you have it in your head of a method that will work, and then you start doing it and you think, I've just wasted a lot of time and dishes? In your own kitchen, you would probably just measure everything into the jar and shake it up. But because I wanted to have it all measured out for you, here we go. So now just put the lid on, and this is a much larger jar than what you need. This would all fit in a jelly jar, but I like a bigger jar so I can really shake it around. Once you've got that all shaken up, we're just going to set it aside. And these lids are so great for recipes like this. They're just mason jar lids that are plastic. They don't stain, they're easily washed, and they're perfect for a jar that you don't really want to use a used canning lid for in a rink. So I'll put a link for these in the description box. So there's our dressing, and I always like to make the dressing first because then it has time to sit together and get the flavors together. So we're going to get on to our chicken. Do I have enough room? Oh, barely enough room here. I've got a cookie sheet lined with foil. I actually already have my oven preheated to 400. I was toasting my almonds earlier that we'll chop up in a little bit. And this recipe for the chicken is almost the same recipe as my cornflake chicken here on my channel. I'll put a link for that in the description box. If you haven't seen that, it's delicious. And my chicken is in the fridge. This recipe you can make as big of a batch as you want, if you have a lot of people to feed or if you want to have leftovers for the week. But today I'm just using 2 chicken breasts, and I've cut them up, kind of in little strips here. First of all, they cook faster and they're easier to eat in a salad. So the first thing we've got here is a 1/2 cup of my gluten-free flour, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger, and 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder. And just get in here and mix this all together. And the difference between this cornflake chicken and my other cornflake chicken recipe is, of course, my chicken is cut up in smaller pieces, but my spice mixture is different. And then I've got 2 eggs. I felt like 1 egg wasn't enough and 2 eggs might be too much. And then we just want to mix these together. I suppose I could have just used 1 egg and added a little bit of water, but this is all right. And then I've got some gluten-free cornflakes here. I've crunched them up into pretty fine pieces. You can put them in a food processor, but I don't like them to be a fine powder. I like them to be this texture. We may or may not need more of these as well. This is about 1.5 cups. Start with a little strip of chicken, and you want to coat it in this flour spice mixture. Into the egg. And then into our cornflake crumbs. And if you don't have any cornflake crumbs, you can just use some gluten-free breadcrumbs. And if you don't want to have a breaded chicken at all, then you can just use baked chicken. Even grilled chicken would be delicious. This is always so messy. You don't even have to use chicken breast. You can use chicken thighs, which is actually what I prefer, but chicken breasts are what I had in the freezer. And you don't have to cut your chicken into strips like I did. You could just leave it in one big piece, do all of this breading, and then slice it and then put it on your salad. But I kind of like it in the smaller pieces. And I always say I like things to be bite-sized in a salad. My chicken is not bite-sized, but that's all right. And I ended up getting a little bit more cornflakes just to make sure my chicken was evenly coated. You could even make your chicken a little bit spicy. Just add in, maybe some cayenne pepper or something like that in with your dry spice mixture there. Let me wash up really quick. So this will go in the oven. I'll start checking it at about 25 minutes or so. Because my chicken is cut up in smaller pieces, they'll cook faster. So in the oven, I'm going to get all of this cleaned up and then we can get started on our salad. So the first thing I'm going to do is get my almonds cut up. You don't have to put nuts in your salad, but I really like the crunch. Some restaurants serve this salad, with crispy wonton strips or something like that. Or even those, I forget what they're called. The crispy noodles that you can get in a can in the grocery store. I think they do make a gluten-free version of that, but I've never bought them. And in fact, some recipes call for a package of ramen noodles that you kind of crunch up and put in your salad. I haven't tried it with my gluten-free noodles because I think they'd really be way too crunchy in a salad. But you could try that too. But for me, I'll just stick with my almonds. And if you don't like big chunks of almonds, you could get some slivered almonds. But I like them to be kind of chunky. I don't want them to be as fine as I would chop to put in a muffin or something. I already have some cilantro here that I cut up that I was using in another recipe earlier this week. That is delicious in this salad. And then I do have some sesame seeds. All of these will be for garnish. And our green onions. So I've got 2 green onions here. And my compost bucket. And I like to use the whites and the greens of the green onions. There we go. Our garnish is done. So I've got 1 carrot. I've got a few stalks of celery here. And then I've got not quite a half of a head of cabbage. If you got a purple cabbage, that would make a really nice colorful salad. I didn't get one of those. And then I do have some lettuce here that is not washed yet. I always like to cut up my lettuce first, and then I can really wash it in the basket of my salad spinner. And I'm going pretty small, bite-sized pieces here. And I like to cut things on kind of a diagonal. It just makes it look a little different for a salad than you would cut up for something like a soup. And these are just the vegetables that I'm using today. You could put in some frozen peas that are thawed. That would be delicious in here. Whatever you like. And I am going to grate my carrot. You could cut your carrot up, but I like it grated. All right, carrot is shredded. And I was going to mention too, you could always put fresh ginger in your dressing instead of the powdered ginger in your chicken seasoning. That's a really good idea. And I wish I could say that this was cabbage from my own garden. Not yet. My cabbage is coming along, but it's not ready for a salad yet. Same with lettuce. I do have some arugula growing, but it's not ready for a salad yet. All right, cabbage in there. And I usually wait till last to cut up my lettuce, just because it isn't washed yet. So what I like to do with my lettuce, cut off the end here, and then take off any kind of questionable parts or pieces. And then I just start lining up the big leaves, and then I cut them, depending on the size. The really big ones I'll cut in thirds. And this lettuce is a nice color. Kind of has the purpley tops that will add some nice color to our salad. You could use spinach, you could use romaine, whatever you like. Whatever's on sale. And if you don't have a salad spinner, you should get one. It's such a handy kitchen tool to have. It works great on other things too, not just lettuce. For example, my cilantro. Just wash it really good and then spin it dry in the salad spinner. Or you could just buy a package of pre-cut coleslaw, and then you'd have your cabbage and carrots, and then just buy a package of salad greens, just like this, and then you would eliminate this step altogether. Okay, there is all of my lettuce in there. Off to the sink for a bath. I'm going to get all of this out of the way. I can smell my chicken. My timer hasn't gone off yet, but it's smelling delicious. My chicken is going for about 10 more minutes. My lettuce is all clean. And I'm just going to dump it all in my big bowl here. My bowl might be a little bit too small. That's all right. And then I've got some tongs. Really is the easiest to get in here and mix this together. With our carrots on the bottom. I really should have gotten a bigger bowl. This is all right though. Just make it work. Okay, once you get all of your salad mixed together like this, we're just waiting on the chicken. Let's see. And just to make sure, I do have an instant read thermometer here. And I'm just checking the bigger pieces or the pieces that are kind of thick. If they're done, then I know that my smaller pieces are done. All of my chicken is done. Let me move this out of the way a little bit so I can assemble my salad. It smells delicious. And I like my chicken to rest a few minutes before I put it on my salad. Not a super long time, they are small pieces, but this way they have a minute to kind of rest before we add it to our salad. So now we just get some of our lettuce and carrots and cabbage here, and our celery. I forgot my celery was in there. Kind of blends in with everything. There we go. Now some of our toasted chopped almonds, green onions. You could even mix your green onions in with all of the greens. And same thing with your cilantro. Sesame seeds, and you could even mix your sesame seeds in with your salad dressing. I'm going to use my same tongs to get some chicken. And now just a little drizzle of our dressing. because it is a really thin dressing. A little bit goes a long way. I need a knife to cut some of my chicken. Try to get a little bit of everything in here. My chicken is perfect. The seasoning on there, it's not super strong, but just enough. And super crunchy. And my vinaigrette is delicious. It's not a really strong flavored vinaigrette, but it goes perfect with all of the ingredients. It's a little on the tart side, which is what I like. Sometimes salad dressings like this are really sweet. If you like yours a little bit sweeter, add a little bit more honey or sugar. But I think mine's the perfect combination. And it goes so well with all of the greens and the baked chicken. Such a fast, easy weeknight dinner to come together or lunch. Even though we set up a whole breading station and breaded our chicken, in less than an hour, you have this delicious meal. Let me know what you think if you make this recipe. It really is delicious. I love salads this time of year. If you grow a lot of these ingredients in your garden, there you go. It's an even cheaper meal to make at home. Thank you guys so much for watching my channel, and thank you to my patrons for contributing to my channel. I always feel like I don't say thank you enough, and then when I do say thank you, I just kind of ramble on. But I really am so happy to have all of you here. But thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have any questions or comments, let me know, and I'll see you on the next one.